Okay, we are alive. Hello
Oh.
and welcome. This is the way of conscious mindfulness. And this show, you know all the things, yada yada yada, mindfulness, yada yada yada, spirituality, yada yada yada, but Boggy talking forever, he'll shut up in a second. And this show is the way of Michelle Infinity. The very wonderful, the very beautiful, the very gorgeous, and the very lovely. And that's a lot of varies. Anyway, I'm going. Oh yeah, by the way, Ethan's here. You're as normal.
So perfect.
you know by halfway through we won't be able to shut him up. But we love him. But anyway, so wonderful Ethan is here and myself, and I'm going to pass it over to the the guest of the show. It's her show, so let's pass it over to the very lovely, the very wonderful Michelle Infinity.
Oh, hi.
Well, he was expecting me to go on a little bit further. Okay, Michelle, what do you do?
I'm happy to answer that question. I was thinking that Ethan was gonna. We talked about that, but I'll just go forward. What do I do? I'm holding a rock in my hand from Sedona. I was just in Sedona. I've been traveling. Right now, I'm traveling the West Coast, kind of. What I want to do right now? Let's just all tune in for a breath and just be so I can give of my best self, because I feel like what I haven't been doing is blogging a lot, and I'd really miss doing my conscious media, etc. But I've been running through my life as on super speed. So let's just tune for a second so we can kind of call in the angels, because I love the angels. So I am asking all of the beautiful beings that are gathered here today, that are joining us, that are live or on rebroadcast, and that we all open our hearts in this collective space where we are infusing the energy that connects us all. And remembering to breathe and subtly tune to this glowing light that surrounds us, that is us in our fullest capacity, and that we are able to remember in this moment and every moment. And may this show be an offering of remembrance. May this show be a co-creation that allows us to be in spirit together. Because when we are in that heart space and we are connected to the stars and the intergalactic angels and all of the beings that love us unconditionally, and we draw all of those energies in through us, then we feel fulfilled as a part of our earth walk and our mission, that we are able to go out and be in this busy world and bring that love with us. So from the ground beneath us, below us, we tune to the frequencies of the water, the rocks, the earth, the foliage, the plants. We ask Pachamama to infuse us with her love and her strength. And from there we move through our hearts and up like a sacred tree out the top of our heads, to the stars, to the cosmos, and then back through our souls and to each other. And gratitude. Gratitude for the angels, for the guides, gratitudes for each other, gratitude for our beautiful My Rock from Sedona, your unicorn bunny, I believe it's called, and your lightsaber, Bunny Goyle. So for all of the things that make us remember in our lives, who we are, including prayer and meditation, which is a big part of my life. So, blessed be.
Blessed be, and so it is.
And so it is.
Indeed.
I've got a lot of pagan friends, so yeah, blessed be, and so it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's shifted a little bit of energy, brought some love, and yeah. Do you have questions? Do you want me to talk more?
I will ask a question.
What would your question be?
Okay, I will question.
Okay.
So, I've been thinking about this, and generally we don't find out as much about people as I feel we ought to. So I'm gonna try it, and so explain, if you will, your personal practices, like what your daily practices are, what you teach in your practices.
Sure.
You do sound therapy, and so like talk about that.
Yeah.
Explain kind of like, I mean, me and Boggy know the theory behind sound healing, but that doesn't. But if we were doing that, then we'd just be preaching to the choir. So like, tell everybody else your understanding of it. And
Sure.
I want to know yours.
Yeah.
The way that I do it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Tell us.
Okay. Okay. So, oh, I'm echoing. Is everybody echoing? Or is that just no?
Right.
Echo.
Testing.
Okay, we're back. We're good.
Talking.
Yeah. Okay, so sound healing. So I first want to talk about the personal practice part because what just happened was I actually did it, which is interesting, which is you connect to the earth, you connect to the sky. And so every morning when I'm doing my practice and when I'm not crazy, when I'm not like just going, I have to ground because I am super, super sensitive, and something that this is funny because what's actually happening right now? It's kind of I'm telling my story over the last 2 weeks because I left Florida like a lightning bolt, like I bolted out of Florida, and then and because I learned something about traveling. Like a what?
A striking snake?
Like a snake. You know what's funny? In Sedona, I had these snake earrings, and I left them by the river. And I know, right? That's very like transformative. Yeah.
Leaving your skin, I see.
I'm shedding my skin for sure. So I moved out and I learned something about travel, which I will share with everybody. Don't plan to be in a different location every day. Like give yourself travel and then rest and then travel and then rest and then travel and then rest. Otherwise it's too much and you wear yourself out. And what was really cool is that I recognized how important it is that I have my personal practices, which included checking in with myself. So we all know meditation and yoga and exercise, right? Journaling. I missed like journaling when I was too busy. I missed just like sitting and like pulling a card. Whoops. And and just centering. And being still, like we all, like those of us who have sedentary lives, when it's just like the balance we always talk about. If you're too still, you freak out because your energy builds and you get this anxiety. If you're too in motion, you have no time to ground and recenter yourself and do what we did in the beginning of the broadcast, which is tune into the energy of the earth around you. I spoke recently about how I actually picture a dome to bring me into the flow of the day. So this is a new thing that I've developed this year in my practice. It's to bring me into the flow. I asked the angels and the guides to bring me into the flow because I think those of us who are in tune have all recognized that there's a flow. And Oprah even says this, by the way. Oprah says there is a flow with your name on it, and you get to, if you're in that flow, you're not rushed. Everything's happening synchronistically and right on time. And my guides, my dear beloved Phoenix and all of my angels were telling me, just follow the light and follow the synchronicity, and we'll take you from one place to the other. Because to be honest, there's a part of me that kind of doesn't know what I'm doing in this. I think that a lot of us going through this transformation right now, there's a lot of like, we're all kind of wild cards up in the air, and then things are going to flow, and then, hopefully by next year kind of we'll be in our new locations doing our new practices with our new jobs, whatever that newness is. And we're in a transformational, hence the snake, we're in a transformational time. So in these transformational times, but to circle back to practice, every day, sit on the ground, imagine yourself, here's the earth, here's the roots, and you're sitting like right here. Can you guys see that? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're a little being, and then there's a bubble around you, and that bubble attunes you to the frequency of like the ecosphere of your grid. And if you're tuned into that, the other thing I do is I pray and I ask my third eye and my soul star, which is above your head. The soul star is the chakra that's above your head, and the earth star, that is the chakra that's below your root chakra. And I make sure that I feel connected to my earth star. I ask Archangel Michael to connect me to my earth star and to my soul star. And I make sure that I have a channel of we've talked about this on several shows, the Jedi, the channel of light, the column of light. And I ask that to be connected. And on the days when I'm in the most clear vibration, I don't have any attachments or any weird, other people like in my aura. I have like a very clear portal of my crown chakra, which means I can access my intuition better, you know, and it's very important. I can also assess where I'm at because I can see how attuned or open my crown chakra is, and that helps me kind of navigate my day. So that's my personal practice. I do that. I do yoga, and I do videos, I do exercise, and I do weight training. Strength training has transformed me. It took a long time to get my body to change, but over 2 years of doing it, it's become something where I have a lot of fire energy in me, and if I don't do that, I will be insane. And it's also because I'm very emotional. I also have a lot of water energy. So for those of you who maybe have seen me and resonate with, like, you know, the Shakti, like, you know, or have that in themselves, or just understand what it is to be a little bit of a wild animal. I know Ethan gets that, and Bhakti too. If you have like a little bit of a wild part of you, like a very like, then doing like physical exercise will make you be calm so that you're not reactive. Sean Corn says this really beautiful thing where the yoga allows you to take the reactivity out of your energy field, basically, so that we're able to connect in that heart space, which we all know is possible. So that's that.
There's no pain getting triggered by other pain. There's no trauma getting triggered by trauma.
Exacto.
So please continue.
Okay, so I'll talk about the sound healing therapy stuff now.
Yeah.
So I went to Seneca Treehouse. So Seneca Treehouse is in South Carolina. So synchronicity report. Brendan would be proud. Colby Devane is a beautiful being, light being. I recognized his, you know how when we see each other, we all like have sparks of light and we like see each other's light, and we're like, he had like a feather in his cap. I went to a Rising Appalachia show that I was like half on the fence about going to. I met him like 2 years ago. Anyway, he happens to send me, oh, you're going on the road, blah, blah, blah. I don't even remember the conversation. But the end result of the conversation was Seneca Treehouse, look up these people. Gorgeous little permaculture treehouse / beautiful house, like cabin, gorgeous house. They have like a little Airbnb thing they've put me up in. And I'm going to do healings for the guys and the guys who do the permaculture. So they do like heavy lifting all day. They are like builders, right? I totally have a soul connection with one of the guys. Like the guy, I feel like just so like, right on, like we've got each other's backs, you know, knowing this person for like 5 minutes, like it was just like, all right, I'm definitely supposed to be here. This is like right, this is right on. I learned, this is like a humbling but beautiful thing, because I lived in Florida for several years, and I had a very small community at the beach. I wasn't able to like throw myself into the world like I have in this last little bit, right? And like go be a healer. And I learned how just my presence, just my being, you know, was as a healer and being a channel. We spoke about this. Oh, I spoke about this on the podcast with Brendan last week. Just as showing up with that right intention of like, when I'm in my love space and you're in your love space and I want to see you as a soul, just that is enough to shift somebody's consciousness, to make them remember the truth of who they are. Like just that.
Totally.
Right. So like, as somebody who's like, oh, I haven't been teaching so much lately, and oh, I need to practice this and singing and yada, yada, yada. And then you just show up and like people are like changing and their hearts are opening and you're like, oh, this is the game. This is where we're at. Okay. So then there's like this, yeah, right? So then there's the 2 days, and 2 days go by and I haven't like done my, you know, powwow yet, you know, and I'm like, God, you know, I got to do my thing. And just like a little tell, like I'm not doing my video because I had been exhausted, because even just getting to South Carolina, I'd been going to people's houses. I was out of my normal routine. So my energy levels, I just wasn't used to, you know, it was just so much. And imagine even just getting all your stuff, putting it in storage, going to a house, like there's so much, you know what I mean? I was just like, I was really wiped. But then I got there and I was able to like see the truth of like what was happening around me, through me, etc. And then when I did do the sound healing ceremony, it was epic. It was really cool, and I will talk about it. It was in this earth dome, so it was like they built, and it was the first, like they're building this beautiful, they're building what everybody else is building that we ever talk to, which is like these intentional communities. Because like a lot of people who have roots on the earth are like talking about building temples, which I'm like super into Cosm and Alex Gray and the Chapel of Sacred Mirrors. I kickstarted them both twice because I love what they do. I love what Ram Dass does. And then all of Habitat for Humanity, I believe, is the one in New York that's affiliated with Skull. And then now we have Seneca Treehouse, where people are building these beautiful, and I'm going to Burning Man, so I hope to like meet a bunch of the people on the West Coast. I'll talk about that in a bit. But people are building temples and sacred spaces. That's the new earth that we're building, etc. Right? Okay, so they've never had a ceremony in this place that they've designated for meditation. So I laid blankets down, I made an altar with feathers. That's a big part of the practice. And I even have the Medicine Woman Inner Guidebook for me, so I would say that I'm a budding, studying this, but also remembering, right? So I'm becoming this is the Magician card, which here is resources. So you gather your tools, you guys all know this, right? You gather your tools, you put your tools down as an offering, and then what I've been doing that has been coming through me is combining energy work with song. So I actually had them do an intention setting ritual, and I do this where I had them declare what they wanted to create, why they were there, and what they wanted to create in the setting, and kind of do an activation that my energy guide, shamanista woman, told me to do, which is clapping behind the heart chakra to activate potential. So I was like, they were like, I want to bring, kindness, et cetera, and then clap behind the hearts, do that in a circle. So there's a ritual to it. And then I sang. And then I sing mantra, but I sing mantra in a way that's more primal, like a more Native American, like kind of letting it flow and just, I either sing mantras that I've learned, or I sing like kind of soul songs where there's a more shamanic, like, and I have a drum and I just pray, basically, is what I'm doing. And I listen and allow that to just merge. When it comes out of my heart, the best thing for me there is that when I'm just like, when it erupts from me, when I don't really have to do anything, and it just kind of like surprises me. And that's something that I it's new, it's budding. The more comfortable I am to opening to it, the better and more powerful it comes out. But anybody who is on this path, it's like amazing to see what comes through us when we allow it, right? So there's like that in and out. What's that?
Spontaneous energy.
It's amazing.
Letting it just, I say a lot is, let go and go with the flow. And some people hear the words and some people actually hear the words. Letting go and go with the flow means many things. Spontaneous movement, spontaneous. There's a big thing about spontaneous. Well, there's a big thing in China about spontaneous movement, but spontaneous sounds. But the shaman is all about spontaneity, about letting go, that activating that spark, and that's what I'm hearing. Is like with you, you like a lot. You like your sets. You do like your set routines. But I'm seeing or feeling more that you're actually being more free. Does that make more sense?
Boggy, that's exactly where I'm at on my path. Like my deepest, like let's get real for a second. Like my deepest spiritual path is like I've learned discipline and control, and it's even like I've talked about before. I want to hear what you're saying, Ethan, but I've talked, like, renunciation has been like before, and then I went to Guatemala, and like I opened the door probably before that, but like Tantra, like, which is totally letting go, sensuality, yada yada, and I feel like that's more like where I'm but to merge those two, because it's like, how do you have sacred sexuality, how do you have letting go, but completely where you're in your alignment, you're not like, or you're surrendering but you still maintain your integrity and your power. So like God is like teaching me, how do I let go of my control so that I can be a vessel for this light that can come through, and how do I not am not scared of it, where I'm totally surrendered in total faith, where it'll just take me and build to a life that's beyond what I have conceived as possible. So anyway, go for it. Yeah, go.
Okay. So have you found your shaman song yet?
My shaman song?
Yeah, every shaman has a song.
Uh-huh.
Mine.
What's that? What? I know yours. Oh, right, because you play, guys.
Do you want me to play again?
You played this like ice skating song, like when I came on the call, and it was like boom, choo, boom, choo, boom, choo. So Ethan, I need to as far as that goes, I'm more of a abstract thinker and less of like a linear, like this, and this, even though we talk about control and such. But I do have a song that keeps like coming out, you know, as I sing. I don't even know if I could do it on the spot, but it's like, but it is like the same Yahoo, like a Yahoo, hooey, 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 hooey. It's like the same tone. Yeah, so that's cool to really, go ahead, go ahead.
You got to practice that more.
Yes. I have to like.
I got to do that, and because I don't have anybody I don't have a drum circle around here or anything to sing at or play with, and I play didgeridoo. And I got to go. Yeah. Oh, totally. Oh yeah, we've got some fun. We've got fun times with vibration things. So I got to sing with some drummers, and it was like a really awesome shaman song.
Right on.
My shaman song, and I've been working on my shaman song for a while. But ultimately, it has to do with just like you're doing now, like you were talking about, is opening up to that flow, because you have to learn. If you don't learn the fundamentals, this is really big in martial arts, and I know Bhakti knows this. But if you don't learn the fundamentals of an art, then you won't be able to fully apply the art. If you don't learn the foundation, then you can't have a structure on top of it. So within that realm, say what, Bhakti?
I was just wanting to sort of interject or add. This is when we know like structure. This is the whole thing with structure in martial arts. You know, people hear the word black belt and they think, oh, that means you're a master. To a master, black belt just means you're now visible. You've learned the basic steps. So to a shaman is learning the magic and learning the herbs and learning, in Taoist shamanism, I'm a barefoot doctor, which is there's the most famous barefoot doctor is called Stephen Russell. But in China, the barefoot doctor is a metaphor. They use many different skills to heal people. A Dragon Dog Shaman is similar, but the Dragon Dog Shaman uses more energy and is far more spontaneous. And it's all about the free ones. We were talking about the free pure ones last week, and the free ones, mind, body, and spirit. So as a Dragon Dog Shaman, you have to learn all these different Qigongs. You have to learn the I Ching and the 64 trigrams. You have to understand all of this stuff, and then once you've learned it all, you've got to forget it all. In essence, you go totally. Yeah, I know. You what? But it's that. Another way, or an easier maybe, is like ice skating. So as an ice skater, you learn all these different tricks and moves, but then the best ice skaters can spontaneously go from one move into the next, it's a bit like martial arts, is that you can just go from a pirouette into the splits, into something else, and you're just literally going with the flow, but the flow has these rhythms, these sets. So okay. Go on.
No, I was going to jump in with a memory, but go on. Finish your thought.
So all I'm saying is that you're learning your sets, you're learning your organisation, you're learning your different forms, but eventually your aim, when they say learning forms to be formless, is that once you've learned the forms, you can go from one to the next, one to the next, one to the next. You can see somebody. For me, I can see somebody, or I can hear in their voice a sound, and or if that person's quite angry, they're livid. Totally. Means there's weakness in the liver. So I will then look for other things, or I can say, a barefoot doctor will go, right, okay, you've got a sore back, you suffer from headaches, you have all trouble going to the toilet. Okay, come here, I'll do a massage. Come here, I'll show you acupressure points. Come here and I'll teach you these exercises, these Qigongs. Go and do 5 minutes meditation every day. And here's a story that will sound totally irrelevant, but will actually make sense in a few weeks down the road. So that's what Barefoot Doctor does. It gets different ways to help you and bring it together. Shaman does the same thing. The shaman just does it in a far more spontaneous way, far more flowy way. And that's where I feel you're going. You're going down this path, because you love to move and the energy. You are don't quite want to use that word. Well, the word that's coming up is true, but I don't mean it in the way it's. You're very sexy, but I mean is sexy as in the nature of beautiful.
Sensual.
Sensual, thank you. Yeah, you have a very sensual energy, and that intrigues people, but that will also break barriers. That will also help people get past certain points of view, or, where they may hit a barrier with me, or even with you, because of your sensuality and the way you can play with it. And it is, in essence, we know, or me and Ethan know, there's the snake energy in you, and that whole snake energy is the weaving around problems. There's an analytical side to, in Chinese annals, snake is spiritual, it's spontaneous, but it's also analytical. It can work out what it needs to do and then do it in a flowy way. And I think that's what, yes, find your song, learn stuff, but become spontaneous with it. Become formless within form.
Yes. Oh my God. So many things you just said I want to go on. Wait, Ethan, will you remember?
One thing.
Okay.
One thing. I promise it's just going to be one thing. Think of it like a river.
Okay.
The water is contained. It's like how I like to try and view the masculine. I've talked to Peter Fay about this many times. So the masculine is the rocks at the bottom of the river, and the feminine is the water in the river. The solidness is always there. The fluidity is on top. The fluidity is there. The fluidity is life and change. But there's the solid element to it that is always there. So that's your foundation of this discipline that you've learned. Because if you don't learn discipline, then you won't be able to accomplish anything, especially when you're on the road. It's especially hard when you hit times of diversity. Like I went to and stayed at somebody's house for 10 days. That was extremely hard for me to keep my disciplines of Qigong and exercise going, and I did for the most part. And I did fail a few days. And so the more you practice discipline, the more proficient you become at it, and the more you have the ability to rapidly switch between the hard and the soft of discipline, and knowing when to have discipline and when to not have discipline, and understanding the balance between the two. Because otherwise, if you have discipline all the time, like you were saying, you're not going to have any time to have fun. But if you have fun all the time, then you're not actually going to get anything done.
Yeah.
That is cohesive towards a greater life plan of like doing an exercise every day to expand in whatever field that is. That's all I'm going to say. I'm done.
Okay. No, well, I want to go back to what Bhaggi said, because there was something about, it was the form and the formless. Okay, and then there were like 3 other things, but I don't know if I'm going to remember all those. That is like my life purpose, is like to give form to the formless. And like that, like my astrologer Kai Pacha actually, like, he said that he was like, that's what I signed up to do, is to somehow bring, and you talked about the sensuality, and that's what I was going to talk about. So by trade, and this was just happening, this is totally relevant, my day job is a web designer. I was a web designer, a graphic artist for like 10 years, right? I teach web design online, but web design has this analytical side, which, it's very interesting that that's very true, is that I do have that part of my brain. I love problem solving. Also love counseling work, which is coming up right now, which I want to do more of. I want to do more, because that's like kind of problem solving too, where people are like, hey, give me this way of, that I think, and then you're like, oh, well, think about it a different way.
Well, the human brain is basically a computer, and you work with computers all the time.
I do.
It doesn't seem that far of a stretch of the imagination that you want to start fixing the
biocomputers. Yeah, totally. Yeah. And I do. And the other thing I wanted to talk about with my energy healing work. But I just totally relate to that snake thing about because when I act, I don't act in a linear way. In fact, I can't. It's very difficult for me to do that. Everything that I act, and when I do anything, I do it in circles, I do it in flow. When I speak, it's that way, which, I want to do more public speaking and such. And so, and again, like what you're saying, like do the shaman song, it's like, I know that I need to, oh God, there's 7 different things talking at me that I want to talk about. I want to create structure, so I do have certain songs so that when I present them to different places, because, okay, and I'll just say this, and then I'll talk about energy work. So remind me to circle back to energy work, but going with the flow. So I learned that about how that spontaneity and that shamanism, when I was at 3 Days of Light last year, Amanda Amethyst and I did a sound healing that spontaneously happened by a chain of events through us, with a guy on a didgeridoo, 2 other people on drums, right? And me on a drum, and like 25 people on the floor, like getting, just absorbing the chi of the environment. And there's people very close, because it's 3DL, right? It's not the most organized, who are just like on like different like stages making sound, like bah, 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 and we're like, ah. And one of the guys, he was this beautiful dreadlocked guy, he whispered over to me, this is where I learned this lesson. He said, don't fight it, just go with the flow. And it was like about, instead of me beating the drum, being like, no, I'm going to overpower this noise in the background, it's work with whatever is presenting itself, which is like this huge freaking life lesson, right? It's true with healing, and it's true with everything else in the world. And when you do learn how to do that, like, oh, this is showing up for a reason, there's also discernment. There's also the double-edged, like, every lesson also has a polarity, right? So there's also discernment, and I did a video on discernment. Out of these cards, actually, this medicine deck taught me. Discernment is saying, oh, this is showing up in my vibration, but I have the internal authority to say that I do not want this in my vibration. So there's 2 things: to know when the environment calls for you to surrender and go with the flow, and know when it calls for you to maintain your integrity and your own authority and say, not so much. So you have to play with both
when
poles.
You clear yourself enough. You can only have that discernment when you get clear enough within yourself, when you clear enough of the char away, enough of the trapped emotions and the trapped trauma, which all has to do with shaking magic and the human nervous system. But I would like you to continue, please.
Shaking magic, I love it. And then
magic is epic magic.
They do that in Kundalini yoga.
Well, shaking. So how? Do you want me to explain this, or do you want to keep going? Because I can explain the whole shaking business.
Keep going and explain it in a minute.
In a scientific. Okay.
Buggy over rules. The other thing that I wanted to talk about was the practice that I'm actually most confident in, which is like, it's the most exciting for me to talk about. So the singing and the shamanic work, all of that is like growing and budding and remembering. And as I do it more and more, I love singing. I'm not unconfident about singing, but the allowance, like opening and opening and opening, that I want more and more practice with, right? Okay, so there's that part of the ceremony, and then everybody lies down, and I played music in Seneca. I just like allowed that music, and then I started doing, and I have feathers and sage, and I started doing healing energy work on everybody that was there. There were 3 people. It was like a triangle, and I went back and forth to each body, and as they rested in the environment, because the environment's like a cocoon of energy, like I was talking about with that little ecosphere, right? So that environment and the guides, they come in anyway. So like those people's higher selves and guides are already like doing work on them. Well, we facilitate that space because that's the intention of the container, right? And then I go to each one and I start to like navigate energy. And that is something that I have, the word that's coming is power, like is the most powerful thing, but it's the most intuitive. I do not have to think. I do not have to, that is something that just flows out, like the flow, like that magic and working with people's energy fields, and just, that just is there. Like I love doing that. It's just easy. It's like, it's my bread and butter, it's like, yes, that. And what was cool, like the icing on the cake for, metaphors, okay, of each of these people, were that, okay, so they're all different men, right? They're 3 men, and they're on the ground, and each of their beings opened differently, and like had different chakras and different energies and different tones and vibrations and expressions. And I worked, and just seeing that variance, that like it was just so diverse, even though they were all together in the same field and working with their energy. Like one person's heart chakra was like super open, but it was like firmly open, and it was like telling me what to do, and then this other person, they had a block like here, and it was like I had to like go around, so everybody, it was very specific. And that was just so, it's so amazing how you learn, right? As you teach and you facilitate, you just learn. So yeah, I'm done on that. But man, that was a really beautiful, potent experience. And then the next day I taught a yoga class in the morning, and that was really awesome as well. And that's the other thing, another thing that I do that's come back up is I do yoga class. And they said it was very specific to them, which makes me happy. That's another, just, so.
For me, that is, well, it's both, but it's definitely being Dragon Dog Shaman. What I mean is, right, you're definitely being in touch with your Taoist side, in the essence of is adapting to the situation, adapting to the person. You know, I've said this a billion times, everyone and everything is your sifu. So as a healer, you're as much learning from your client, your patient, as they are from you. You know, because the body will tell you exactly what it needs. But only got to listen. You know, I learned that in through the massage side. You know, when I do Chinese massage and I start telling people about their childhood, or start telling people about certain things, they go,
Nice.
"Oh my God, you're psychic." No, but for me, it's the muscles. Each muscle means right. One in particular, muscles within the neck. If you have tension in your neck, so your neck is very stiff, the link between the mind and the body, the bridge, is blocked. So what the mind is trying to achieve, the body is struggling to, or what the mind can believe, the body is struggling to achieve. So when there is tension in your neck, the tension is the pathway to the mind is being blocked, so the pathway to the body is therefore blocked. So what you're trying to do all this stuff, and you're finding it a struggle. Part of that will be the tension in your neck. Relieve the tension in the neck, and you will relieve some of that problem. You will find the solutions to that problem. You've got tension in your shoulders. Your Atlas, the world is bearing on your shoulders. The pressure is building down. Relieve the tension in the body. You relieve the tension in the mind. You relieve the tension in the spirit. So for a Dragon Dog Shaman, it's all interconnected. If I work on one, I naturally work on the other two. And from what you were just saying, that's what you're doing. And for me, you know, doing Tai Chi 1 minute, doing massage the next, doing something else. I love that. I love the spontaneous. I love the flow. I love flipping from one thing to another. But also for me, just very quickly, also for me, it's like when I go and do healing, I've done healing camps before, I've done 16 hours of healing, and people say, "Oh, aren't you sore? Aren't you tense?" But no, because if you're doing it right, you're healing yourself. Because the whole point of Qigong is posture. So as I'm massaging, if I'm in the chair, I correct my posture. On a sofa, on the a massage bed. Well, not allowed to call it massage bed anymore. Massage sofa. You'll correct your posture. You know, I go into wild horse dance, which Ethan will know what I'm saying. And the
Wild
whole
horse.
thing is,
Wait. What's
yeah,
wild?
I love wild horse dance.
Do I know wild horse?
Do wild horse dance.
His is wild. Don't question it.
I'm not questioning. I'm attempting to understand. Huge difference. Huge.
But for me, I mean, I think because of your spirit's nature as well, you need that flow. I want to say my spirits are saying, don't get stuck in a rut. Go with the flow. Don't flow yourself out. Don't, like as you said, settle down for a little bit of time. Go, the whole the Taoists that used to go from village to village to village, they would settle there for a couple of days to a week. They'd help that village, they'll go to the next. Help that village, they go to the next. So they keep with the flow. They're always meeting new people. They're always dealing with new situations, which allows you to keep the flow as long as you keep rooted. And the Tao, sometimes people think the Tao is selfish because the first person you heal is you. You've got to work on you first, because you can't help anybody else if you're not well. Can't help anybody else if you're unbalanced. You can, but not in your full potential, and you will get worse yourself. So you have to work on you first. But when you is balanced, then you can help others. Anyway.
That makes me feel really good because like what I'm doing now, well, number one, I'm at a woman's house, which has been epic. I'm in Phoenix right now, and I'm at a woman's house, and the woman happens to have cancer. And I found out right away, like the first thing that I and I was gonna do a healing session, but I was just getting back, and so I haven't really had to. But again, just like being with her and etc. And she's a doll. I've just loved her. And when I came when she was she had to I'm getting it now. She had to fire a bunch of people at her job. And that was the day that I showed up. And so we talked about it and such. So I actually was thinking oh, maybe I should do more for her. I should be here and I should work on that with her. But she was like, oh, I'm so down. And then her friend died, but I've been here, and she's been so it's just and she.
Your vibration.
Yeah.
Your vibration
Yeah, and she told me a story yesterday about how she had these crazy people here, and if she's so glad that she got rid of them, again, discernment, because they were treating her poorly, and she was like, you guys need to leave, but she did it in a really cool political way, and she was like, and if I hadn't have done that, you wouldn't be here because, I did that. So it's you say no to the right thing, you say yes to something beautiful. I guess somebody needs to hear that because that's come through twice. So yeah, so that's good. And then I'm going to the Grand Canyon on the flow, taking you to the next space. I'm really learning a lot about manifesting and how that works. And when something's in alignment, you put a little bit of energy into one thing, the other. My mom's neighbor had a friend who's a tour guide, actually, in the North Arizona where I'm at. And so he called me this morning and told me how to do the Grand Canyon, which I'm doing over this weekend, which means as comfortable as I am here, it's time to go because I got the phone call. You know what I mean? So that's happening, and then he's gonna guide me on how to drive up north to Burning Man, and then how to drive back down to do what I have to do in September, which is awesome because yesterday I was trying to do logistics and I was freaking out a little bit because that was very hard. I was like, where do I go? What do I do? And he's gonna guide me. So it's sometimes you have to be patient for the next thing.
So in other words, the universe heard you, yeah?
Yeah, the universe heard me and was and so now that's perfect. So now I have my next stop, my next places, and it's gonna be cool to go to the Grand Canyon. I was thinking of singing and doing a video there would be nice, singing some songs and into the Grand Canyon. Song? Yeah, I'll do my shaman song at the Grand Canyon for sure.
No, I think you really need to.
I love that. I think
yeah, you're getting strict, Boggy. You're getting strict. Boggy.
Yeah, you're gonna get shaman. Better look out.
Yeah, shaman Boggy. No, I'm getting told. I'm almost getting Shun energy. It's
ooh.
You must.
I will.
So
I will practice my shaman songs in the Grand Canyon.
You shall hear. That sounds more like a witch. You didn't tell like Yoda. Anyway, I'll shut up.
No, don't shut up. I love it. I'm singing. So Amanda, I talked about Amanda before. Her and I worked together. I actually got invited, or we created. I got invited into her goddess temple. So at Unify Festival at the end of September, I'll be able to facilitate another healing circle like that again. So I'll use that time to practice medicine songs for to do that same cultivation of energy healing work and whatever I also learn, because and Sedona was beautiful. I got to listen a little bit. I got to sing in Sedona at the top of Cathedral Rock. That was really cool.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that was really beautiful. And I got to sing at Bell Rock too, and this song for the Divine Masculine came through from Bell Rock, which is Guru Rinpoche mantra, which I know the chorus, but I don't know the actual 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche, who's a Buddhist.
I'm going to interrupt you and ask you to explain that for people.
Tell me
I'm not exactly sure what you're talking about. What? The 7 lines and all that.
So the 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche. Yes. Let me bring it up. I don't even know. 7-line prayer to Guru Rinpoche is a mantra. A prayer. Let me see what I want to say about it. This is something that I feel called to do with my life, is to memorize, to spend a long time memorizing the meanings to mantras. I know basic ones like asatoma sadgamaya is lead me from darkness to light, lead me from death to immortality, from ignorance to truth. So I know those ones that I've been working with, and so now more complex ones are coming through, like this Guru Rinpoche one. Guru Rinpoche is a divine masculine. I believe he was a physical being in, like, God, I don't even know. He's Tibetan. And I know that he, like, quelled demons. Like, it's basically like, imagine, like, love. He's got a rainbow body. So, like, imagine, like, and I know very little about this, but it's like coming up into the powers of evil and just being like, zoom. That's how I understand the story. Padma Sambhava is his other name, and Guru Padma Siddhi Home. So Guru Padma Siddhi Home, Om Ahom Benza Guru Padma Siddhi Home, Om Ahom Benza Guru Padma Siddhi Home. Om Ahom Benza Guru Padma Siddhi Home. Om Ahom Benza Guru Padma Siddhi Home. Oh, and so the complex stuff is like, yeah. What?
It's good. Sorry.
What? Oh, you want me to? I only know the chorus. I have to learn the whole thing, and that's what came through on Bell Rock, because I was like, out of nowhere, I was like, divine masculine rock, divine masculine mantra, and then, but I was like, I don't know the other part, so I'm like, da da dang po la da. So I need to practice my mantras so I can bring it, you know.
You could make the rest of it up as you go along.
Well, it's not making it up; it's going with the flow.
Yes.
To my ancient Tibetan side, to my ancient Tibetan side, she says, learn the remember the mantra. You know what I mean?
So it's true.
Well, I'm sure it's there. I'm sure that's there.
Oh,
I wanted to ask you, Michelle, is your digestion getting any better? Is it getting less sensitive now that you're going with the flow more? Because as a snake person, that means...
I would say yes.
You're a gastropod. Gastropod means stomach foot. So a snake, actually, snakes and slugs and snails actually move themselves through life on their stomach. So the more you go with the flow, the more your digestion should improve, because you're flowing better in your snake form, because that's how you're moving through life, so there is going to be a strong connection.
Interesting. You know, I would. That's actually totally resonant, because I haven't been like, I drink Green Vibrance. Green Vibrance is really good, and it's a probiotic, like wonder powder. But I haven't been drinking it recently, and I haven't needed to. So, yeah, maybe I am going with the flow more.
Maybe
I am.
But
I want to sing more. I want to sing this.
Yeah, I want you to sing more. But first, I just wanted to quickly say, what's coming through me, Qi Jing Chen, with you're singing mantras. There's a physical movement, there is a feeling behind it, and there is a thought behind it. So it's Qi Jing and Shen. I strongly feel this is. I'll just say as is. I strongly feel this is a healing tool for others, not just yourself, but also for others. That using it as part of your practice will become very important. That's what I want to say.
How so? Talk more about that.
Right. Qi Jing and Shen. So all energy is, well, three of the heavenly energies is Qi, physical vitality, Jing, emotional vitality, and Shen, spiritual vitality. When a mantra, you've got obviously the Buddhist word mantra and mudras. The mantra is a power symbol. It is a vibrational tool. It is, you could use healing spell. It's a healing spell, but it's a program. Now, when you sing it, and Shut up, Boggy. When you sing it very sensually, like you're doing, you're releasing its magic. You're bringing your heart into it.
Yes.
You're very much, and then so that's your heart. So that's the jing. 'Cause you're loving what you're saying, and so that's your jing activation.
Mm-hmm.
Sound is technically chi, technically physical vibration, but also you can't help but move. You do like to move and sway, and that will be physical activation, especially the snake energy. You're physically activating the flow of those sounds. You also, this is the learn it bit, you also need to, it's like the way I'm being told to say is this. It's like a singer learning a song. Don't just learn the words, learn the meaning. The more you learn the meaning behind the words, the more you activate the Shen. But then this is where it gets a little bit complicated. In Qi Jing and Shen, there is Qi Jing and Shen in Qi Jing and Shen. Have I lost you yet?
I'm down.
So basically, so on the spirit side, there is a physical spirit. So you know, like if you're meditating and in your meditation, you're visualizing a physical world in spiritual form. If you're going through somewhere that you enjoy, then that's the heart side. And the information that comes through would be the Shen of Shen. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're activating in Shen form of a mantra. You're activating the Jing side of it, the love, the passion, the sensuality, which you're good at. You're activating the physical side because you can't help the play side and the snake side of you. You can't help to move, and as you move, hence, you know, a lot of people talk with passion. You know, I'm half Irish, half Russian. I talk with the hands, but people who move, they're moving to well, at least for me, I move to activate the words, to activate the passion, to get the feeling in there. And the Shen of that would be the words themselves, the spirit behind them. So you learn the words, but the way you sing it is where you freestyle. The way you sing it is the flowingness of it. So you can either make up what you're saying, and that's the flowingness of it, and then you direct the sound more, or you use a mantra, and then the flowingness will be within the way you sing it, whether you go high and low, and the feeling, you go with the flow of the feelings. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I received that when you understand the vibrational, the meaning of the mantra itself, it's like, I don't know, it just, well, what did I just get? I got when, it's like, I don't have the word for it, but it's like tuning, I don't know, that's so mental, but it's tuning to the frequency behind the actual, like what you're saying.
Behind the picture, it's
yeah.
You're getting in touch with the archetypical force instead of the thing.
That's what it is, exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Tuning fork. When you're saying tuning, I think this is what I call qigongs and mantras and mudras, like symbols. They're technically all tuning forks. You hit the forks, you activate it, so you do the qigong, or you say the mantra, or you visualize the symbol. Is like hitting the tuning fork on a hard surface to make it vibrate. Right. The vibration is the activation. So it's
you're calling it. That's what I saw. So you're calling that archetypal force. You're calling that divine medicine, if you will, down through. So I align with when I teach. I teach Bhakti Mantra workshops, and when I teach the workshops, and I combine it with shamanic soul song activation. So that's like the primal part. You have people, but I teach always to connect with the heart mentally. You connect the mind, the intuition, to the heart chakra, and allow the heart chakra to express up through the throat. So beyond that, now Bhagis and all of the spirits and angels are saying, now let's take it a step further. And when you tune to the actual meaning of the mantra itself, it's like you're ordering ingredients from the universe. And it's like, okay, so not only are you in alignment, but you're also calling on these this medicine, really, this medicine that's ancient and primal, because actually mantras themselves, and I learned this through Krishnadas, who is like the bomb diggity when it comes to Western people who sing mantra. He says that the sounds, the primal sounds of mantra, are actually unmanifest forces. So in the astral, everything unmanifest, like non-physical, but we're birthed into physicality through sound. So Ram is the word for God, but that sound Ram is the only thing that we have, a seed, that represents that force that is God. So that's what we call it. So we've named it this mantra. And so in Sanskrit and what is that other language that's in Kundalini Yoga? The Sikh language, I can't remember. But in Sanskrit, all of these words have vibrational forces behind them, so that we're calling them through us, to work through us. The other thing that I've learned, whoa, echo me. Am I echoing?
No.
Yeah, you are.
All right, maybe I'm done.
I think it's gone.
Because they're purifications. The mantras are purifiers. I learned that through a girlfriend of mine she says Kri as a purifier, a purifying force, so Krishna. So so talk about you talked about getting clear. You said something, clearing the so the mantra can also be used as something to get us in vibrational alignment if we're not feeling that connection into our heart space and something. But I like this drawing down the divine medicine as well. But I think that's better. So.
Well, I'm going to take the opportunity in the conversation to talk about trauma and how it gets trapped in the body, because it is relevant and it's prevalent and it segues nicely. So, the basic concept of shaking medicine.
Ah, right.
Shaking medicine. So, Boggy knows this. I know he knows this because I know a little bit about this, and I know very little compared to Boggy. So, for this form I study, I've studied level 1. It's a moving form. The second level form has to do with shaking qigong. Now, shaking qigong. The general premise of shaking qigong is that you are holding your consciousness in a place in your body, and the qi, which has its own natural intelligence because it's of the universe, which is made of intelligence, will find the places in your body where there's blockages and shake it loose. You see shaking medicine most prominently in shaman in like Africa. They'll go into a trance and shake. They're clearing the trauma from their nervous system. Now, in Western sciencey, whatever you want to call it, so normal people will believe it. Let's talk about it this way. So, when you experience trauma, if you experience trauma that your body does not release, you look at if a duck gets in a fight with another duck, the duck shakes itself afterward.
Yes.
And they've done experiments with this with mice. Well, they'll perform a traumatic experience to a mouse. They'll cut off one of its whiskers, which is a traumatic experience, and they will hold the mouse and not allow the mouse to shake after the traumatic experience. And you see all animals shake. Like gazelles are a really great example. If you see a gazelle that gets away from a cheetah or a lion in a video, it will shake afterward because its nervous system has all of this holy shit energy that it's got to get out. So if you hold the mouse and you don't let the mouse shake, the mouse will get cancer. It will manifest diseases. If you let the mouse shake, it will not. And this is all done by men in lab coats, very official and whatnots. So what happens to us on a physical level is we get traumas trapped in our body because we're not allowed to shake. We're not allowed to freak out. That's why a lot of times people like Boggy and myself will be healthier people than the people around us because we'll fucking freak out about something. And we'll be done with it and move on from it instead of holding it inside us for weeks and weeks and weeks and dwelling on it and just like, we just freak out and get it over with, and then we move on. And so if you hold that in your body and you don't allow that out, what happens is that gets stored in your nervous system. PTSD is your nervous system actually shorting out because your nervous system it has some requirements to work, right? It works on electricity. It's coated in fat to keep it healthy and functioning. So for your first starters, we have a society that's heavily underdosed of saturated fats. So you're predisposed to have nervous system problems from the get-go. And then, so you experience trauma, and that trauma gets trapped in your nervous system. And then when you get triggered by a similar trauma, your body, which is your mind, because your body remembers things, gets triggered by that experience. And you relive that traumatic experience that you experienced before. That's why you see people reacting to things that have nothing to do with that specific situation. They're reacting to something else. They're reacting to, you see it a lot in couples where it'll be they'll get in a fight, and it's the male is reacting to his mother, and the female is reacting to her.
Right. I knew you were going in that direction.
By it. Well, it's a great example, and they're both getting triggered by it. I mean, I can point it out in my own life of situations and relationships where I've had that problem, and it was something that I remember my mom talking about with my dad that I found very profound. So you have these traumas that are trapped in your nervous system. So your nervous system has to release these traumas somehow. And there's therapies now for it, like EMDR is a really efficient therapy. And that has to do with right brain, left brain stimulation, which actually, God, being a genius that he is, when you walk, it's left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain, left brain, right brain. And that sets up a slow rhythmic pattern. And they do it with, I think they're called TheraTappers now, where it's things that you hold on to, and it vibrates in one hand and the other hand, and that stimulates your nervous system to relax enough that these traumas can come up. And so then you can address these traumas and face these traumas, because otherwise, if you don't take care of that, then disease will manifest. Boggy just wrote a whole long thing on the side.
Can we read it? Because it's so cool. It's like we have a question from Boggy.
It's from Nikki Eternal. Let me just...
I love Nikki. She's beautiful.
She is.
We didn't get to talk, Nikki, on the podcast from last week, but you spoke about the ashram that you stayed at in India, and it was really gorgeous. It was really, I was moved by what you said. So I'm grateful to have another divine feminine in this community. So do you want me to read the question?
Yes, go for it. Yes, please.
Please do. I'm only like a third of the way through it because I'm dyslexic.
Do you guys know about the Nirvana Shatakam mantra? The mantra to chant to reach nirvana. It's from Vedanta. Oh, how I love it. It's the song that says the universe, God, Shiva, Brahman, whatever name you give to the supreme essence can be described with negation alone. So in the mantra, they keep repeating the words like, I am not the wind, I am not the fire, I am not water, I am not the mind, I am not body, I am not my parents, I am not my friends, I am not the Vedas, I am not my guru, I am not a student, I am pure bliss consciousness, something, something. Oh, you guys should hear it. It's amazing. Here's the link. I'm going to listen to it. Oh, it's an advertisement. I would like to listen to it. I don't know if I've ever heard this one. Nirvana Shatakam. This reminds me. Hold on. Can you hear it?
Yeah.
I love these. There are Indian mantras.
न च प्राणसंज्ञो न वै पञ्चवायुः न वा सप्तधातुर्न वा पञ्चकोशा न वा पाणिपादो न चोपस्थपायुः चिदानन्दरूप शिवोऽहं शिवोऽहं.
That was beautiful.
Chidananda. Oops. Shivoham.
Oh.
Two things there for me. There's a there's sensual. It's back to that sensuality again. It's sort of, I wouldn't say in a boggy way. So that's what I'm talking about, Michelle. That there's magic in that. There's the fear. I'll be really honest here. I almost wanted to cry. That's what it brought to me. Is that it's almost like a returning home. There was something in there that made me feel, truly made me feel. I say, don't say that often.
I want to try and explain it. It's like, so in martial arts, you learn when you do a ki, which is a martial arts yell, you learn to yell from your balls, is the expression. Boggy knows this for ki-is. So it's the equivalent there of the female version of that, which is singing through your sensuality, singing through your physical. So like the girly bits are a physical manifestation of a vibration, a very pure vibration, and it's the same for the male fiddly bits with male energy. So yeah, you like fiddly bits? How PG of me for once. So what you're doing is you're singing from that place. So you're drawing that energy, because especially for women, we bring in the yang chi from the heavens and the yin chi from the earth through our perineum, which is where you're singing from when you're doing that. So you're singing the yin. And so the more you connect with that, because we all have trauma with sexuality in our society. We all have it in. If you've transcended it, that's awesome. I sure as fuck haven't. So we all have this messed up relationship with our sensuality where it's so hard. To me, there's not really a healthy example out there available for what it's like to be a healthy man and a healthy woman sexually. So we end up with this fractured relationship to it. I have a really fractured relationship to my masculinity because of growing up in the society that I did, because of growing up with the relationship to the feminine that I did in this society. And so I'm going to go ahead and say this, that you have a fractured relationship with your feminine sexuality. And so it seemed, yeah, you. So it seems to me like you're hesitant to draw on that side. This is probably too personal. I shouldn't be saying this on.
No, actually, I was. I was seeing it as I'm echoing. So go ahead.
Okay. So I'll just finish. I'll just finish up my thought real quick, which is basically like singing through your sexuality, finding how to do everything through your sexuality, because there's that we're trained by the Christian culture to not want sex, to avoid sex, instead of having sex, instead of letting so your heart chakra needs to rule the chakras below it.
Right, exactly.
And if your heart chakra is not in charge of your sacral chakra, you're going to be out there having all sorts of fun without any thought.
So Marianne Williamson calls it it's having your Venus archetype be in the temple.
Okay.
So if you keep her in the temple, then everything is in balance. And
finding that impassioned, sensual person all the time and not setting them aside because of the trauma that's been done or because of the reaction that you might get from it.
Well, not setting them free, I would say.
Yeah, that's actually better true. Right. So allowing that to... Okay, go ahead, and then I'll wrap it up.
Singing your sexuality. You got to sing your horniness.
Yeah.
I don't like that word at all. That's not what...
I've got to say, because was it not last week? The show where it's me and Ethan and Steffi, and we were talking about makeup, and I sort of didn't really express it, but there's something about a woman who truly opens up to her femininity, really opens up to her princess side, and when you that playful side in you, Michelle, when you really actually let it go, and like I said, I could start to hear it when you were doing the mantra, and in that I felt it. I can see you when somebody opens up to that. They truly show their true beauty. It doesn't matter what people see elsewhere. Is that when you really open up to your heart, you'll show your inner truth. You know, that inner beauty everybody talks about, but it comes from the heart chakra. Comes, you know, in the Taoist point of view, the heart is the palace. It's the jade palace, and you know, the jade palace has Kuan Yin. Kuan Yin it turns up in many different faiths and beliefs, and Kuan Yin is in Taoism is she is the princess of compassion and sensuality, and she's very much, you know, Kuan Yin is the princess or the goddess, depending on your belief or religion. But she's very much, she has a warrior spirit side. You know, that she's in control of her masculine side, the masculinity within her. But she's also, you know, like she's almost like an Amazonian warrioress. She's beautiful, she's confident, she knows her abilities. And Kuan Yin, very much in the world of Taoism, Kuan Yin is very much the female muse who knows her feminine ways, who knows how to use them, how to get people to let go of their stresses and tensions. And it's being that's what you need to release, you know, is that you you're a very beautiful woman, but there's an inner sensuality that you're just like the flower is just opening up, the lotus flower is starting to reveal this true sensuality, and that's what you need to release. And that's why I've got this big thing about you must have fun, you must play with the singing and the mantras, and I've got this thing of, especially when you go to the Grand Canyon, not only to do the mantras in the Grand Canyon, but to do your silence in the Grand Canyon as well.
Yeah.
Because there's so much in the silence.
Yes.
And somewhere like the Grand Canyon, do the yang and the yin. So the expressing out through the mantra, and then bathe yourself in silence. Draw in the universal knowledge.
I love that you mentioned Kuan Yin. I love that you mentioned Kuan Yin.
Oh, Kuan Yin. She's
Kuan Yin. Yeah, so much.
She's a hero of mine.
Wonderful. So, gosh, I have like 3 things that I want to represent, that I want to say about that. The first one is, remind me about the silence if I forget about it, but the first one was when we played the mantra and we talked about the, and then Ian went into the fractured masculine and feminine. I saw this amazing vision about how true art comes from embodying the divine masculine and the divine feminine. And when you are in that space of complete embodiment, or that you're pulling on that medicine like we spoke about, or you're like, and the other part was like we draw up from the earth, right, and then pull down from the heavens. Like the whole entire life, all of our lives are about that masculine and feminine. Art comes from it, source energy comes from it, everything comes from it. And just using that of my own life path, like that recognition that like that's what my life path is about. So it's going to be, it already is, even whether it's I'm on the journey to it or not, you know, to doing it fully or whatever. Everything that I am is a representation of the divine feminine, whatever part of the path that I'm on now, right? I am the goddess, you know, in that manifestation. And so like, yeah, the more pure. And the other thing that on what Ethan was saying was that I recognized from what you were speaking about, Ethan, is that how deeply we need that medicine, and how you guys are emulating for me, which is so perfect, that medicine through my Shakti, through my growing comfort. I wouldn't say, I mean, maybe wounded, whatever, but my growing comfort with it being, you know, I didn't grow up Jewish, if you want to talk about that. Like, so I do have the old patriarchal, right, like programming that I'm going, but I'm remembering, and this happened in Guatemala, I'm remembering that Tantrika goddess, but in the form of Kuan Yin. So there's also a Dakini, which is a muse. So all of these archetypes, all of these feminine archetypes of like the dancer, the muse, this energy, the sensuality that you guys see in me so vividly, the more comfortable that I am expressing that in a mass, a way that I'm seen, basically, which has been a huge thing over the last couple of years, where it's like, let yourself be seen in your beauty, in your glory, in your power. Like, let it come through you. And so, yes, so that's been my growth, is to let that, to be seen as an example of the divine feminine, as a goddess, because that's what's needed. Because in our culture, like you said, people are craving what that looks like, that purity, what that looks like, that rawness, what that looks like, that visceral home that brings you to, of like, oh, this extreme feminine and this extreme masculine, and the tantric dance between those two polarities is what reminds us of what God is. That's what God is. And the fact that that can be expressed through mantra, through performance, through prayer, that's what I have wanted, I think, since I did acting. I just even posted this. It happened to come up on the feed, of course. 2 years ago, I did a movie. I used to do acting, before I really was like, okay, enough with the acting and more with the spirit. But being a performer, all I've ever wanted was to be that performer on a stage and be an embodiment of the sacred, and in whatever way that is. And then, the singing, and it comes up. So it all flows together. But the fact to like recognize that it's needed, that we need it, and that this is a part of my purpose and my path. And also, like you said about having fun, like Burning Man comes, and it's like, yeah, it's about play also. So it's like tantric sensuality, but like what I've also been learning on my journey, we've talked about this before with Ethan, I've talked about it with my spiritual doctors, is that that your sacral chakra and your inner child, like that's all healthy if it's healthy, Nikki said something sweet. Oh, thank you so much. I love you. I love you for doing this. Yeah, right on, sister. Oh, this is so good. Yay. Goddess energy is so good. I'll just read it because otherwise people don't know what I'm yaying about. Okay. She says, Michelle, you're so beautiful too. It was lovely to share space with you last week on Skull Babylon's channel, and again here. You are so inspiring me to step back into my sensuality and embrace it. Love you for doing this. And I can only recognize that from you have an Indian cultural background. It is, as Kai Pacha, one of my astrologers and teachers, said, we were in this patriarchal for like 6,000 years, this energy, and now we're going into the age of Aquarius, which is community, but also the divine feminine and the divine masculine are like rebalancing. In 2012, everybody was like, the divine feminine is coming back and yada yada, but like Ethan so distinctly said, and I have seen in our culture, like the divine masculine, like the men in the spiritual community, they're very like shaken, because they don't want to be too aggressive, so they've lost their warrior, their inner warrior. They're in touch with that. They're not as in touch with that, and it's just like they're shaky about it, just like women are shaky about embracing their sensuality for the power of good. But really, what we need everybody to embrace their power for the power of good. And come into balance with it is all that it needs to happen, is that we just need to be in that heart space. The heart needs to rule also not only the lower chakras, but also the upper chakras, because the Buddhists, going up and out all the time, the power comes, and that's something that I learned in Guatemala. They have a whole sexual shamanism. Ishta is a school of tantric arts where it's just like the power comes from the primal, and like imagine like a volcano, like that's Pele, that's goddess energy. And like with me, which you guys are seeing me with, if you squish that, it's not. And Krishna Das says this really great thing: you don't want to deal with sexual energy in the universe, it will deal with you. That stuff is bubbling up everywhere. Like that's the primal forces are what create this matter manifestation. So if you do it with reverence, if you do everything with reverence, then everything is good. But that's the thing, is that people aren't taught. People are not taught in this day and age, and that's another thing where us who teach workshops, we talked about this last week on Skull's podcast, where it's like workshops are mystery schools now, and those of us who are called to teach are really bringing like. And I know that I did this, and when I used to teach lecture at Full Sail, which at the university, the students, this is a funny story that's coming through, are like 20-year-old guys. Some of them are like ex-military people, some of them are just like, but they're young men. And I know that for some of them, I was able to be an example of like how you respect a woman, because some of them, like, they didn't know how to talk like right, or they didn't know how to, so it was like for me and my authority, right, as a sensual female, you know, who has goddess energy, and they could sense something, but there was always like a working out of like energy, and I think it's important for those of us who are in these roles to show people who are not taught that because of however they grew up or whatever their culture, like this is how you respect the divine feminine, this is how you you don't be angry like at me, you know, that's not for me, right? You're like, you deal with that and then you speak to me with reverence, like that's how we, you know, or and I will do my best to speak with you in a way that you can understand, like logically, like I won't go on and on like I just did for so long, but it's okay. But yeah, so if we treat each other with respect, and we come from our heart space as souls instead of like try to dominate each other or talk at each other or play games with each other, all the things that culture does, then we are building that collective, that new. We're creating the new dawn. We're creating the new earth. We're changing the planet just by being, you know, together in a way that's more
that's what people don't
peaceful.
get. That whole thing of the you know, the games, you know, like the games men and women play, and you know, courting and whatnot. It you know, it gets you running around in circles. It gets you confused. It gets you lost. It gets you bewildered. But we're taught, it's like, oh, that's normal, you know. It's normal not to understand, you know, men not to understand women, women not to understand men. How do you understand the opposite? Well, the opposite's in you. You know,
Yes.
You know, you are both masculine and feminine.
Yes.
That's
Both,
right, yes.
and you embrace it. By embracing it, you'll understand.
Women
That's
have
what
a
I-
tiny penis. It just never grew in. Yeah.
And then there's that.
Never grew in. No, it's true though. I mean, look, it even manifests in the body. You know, like the perineum for a man is extreme. The male's perineum is an extremely it's just a muscle that can be stretched. So basically, men have it too. Like the pelvic floor. If you look deep into like certain forms of tantra, and I think they talk about it in the Kama Sutra, it's like it's a thing to massage that place and to get it to get it. I'm not going to go into graphic detail.
in China, that is the Yellow Emperor talked about it a lot, which is round about, was it 2600 BC?
Didn't he write the first books about Qigong? Like the Yellow Emperor's text was like the first medical Qigong book ever.
He did, but he talks about the ancient ones. So he's talking about at least 3,000 to 5,000 years before him, and he talks about them and saying their average lifespan was 250 years, and that's because they did these exercises. And it was over 2,000 years later before they actually eventually called it the Tao, and that was Lao Tzu or Lao Tzu's who wrote the Tao Te Ching. What I wanted to write.
The Tao. You should read something from the Tao, Boggy, because the Tao is one of my favorite texts in the world, planet.
Yeah, yes, it's a very interesting book for Tao. But what I wanted to say is that the whole point in the Yellow Emperor talked about it was back then, it was called the 5,000 gold piece, and that was the 5,000 gold piece was the perineum. Basically, it was a spot where on a man you stimulate to slow things down, and on a woman you stimulate to speed things up. And it's a whole point of the yin and the yang. And there were many different points, you know, just like the Kama Sutra in Taoism, there's Taoist sexual yoga. But the whole point of it is not. It's not something to improve sex. It's something to improve mind, body, and spirit. The whole point of it's more about sensuality than it is sexuality. Is that, you know, it's the blending of the yin and the yang. It's the blending of the male and the female, and merging the energies as one. So it was like a dance. It was like a play. And you know, same can be said in Kama Sutra, and this whole thing. It's, you know, it's in the West we've made it dirty, and it's made it, you know, naughty and secretive.
We put the focus on the orgasm. The focus became about the orgasm in the West. And it's glorified. Look at pornography. Look at the male orgasm in pornography, how it's glorified. that's the problem, is when it becomes about the orgasm instead of the shared experience. Orgasms are great, and I wholeheartedly approve, and everyone should have one today, in fact.
Many.
You can be by yourself. And the fact of the matter is, to me, that's really where the breakdown starts to happen, is because you see that represented as selfishness. Like, look at the standard archetypical version of men. Men finish before women, leave women on their own to finish. It's unconsciousness manifest, and this is how it manifests.
Well, can I actually talk about that for a second? I feel that the unconsciousness with our culture and sacred sexuality is, from what I've seen of the divine masculine, is that men feel the best when they're of service to the goddess.
Yes.
That's like this ancient primal knowing that they need to be, and again, reverence, respect, but they need to be an offering that men feel the most in alignment and attunement with what their duty is, their sacred duty is to provide, to give, to serve. It's service. That's what it is. So if in our culture, they switched it, so in patriarchal culture, it's no, you serve me. And that actually, for whatever reason, not for whatever reason, that's not the way that it is. It's actually men serve the goddess and the goddess provides the all. So it's like Gaia, mother, she gives everything, and then the men works with all of what is provided. And then there's a reciprocity. There's the infinity symbol where one flows into the other, and they enrich each other, and then both two polarities are serving the other, and then therefore there's more energy than a depletion of energy. So then that's the whole. With an exchange of energy, there needs to be chi, and that chi needs to amplify in order to have in order for evolution to continue. So basically, and then there's balance, and there's love, and there's reverence and respect and devotion, and all of that, all of those yummy bhakti qualities can be poured. But when one partner goes into separation, or one person goes into, am I getting enough, or and the unconditional love is not there anymore, then it's like a broken chain. And I know that it takes a lot of beings to be on the same plane in order to allow for that consciousness to flow there. But I think that's what we're working towards as we are remembering that we are one, that whole in Lakesh, I am another you. So even in our friendships, we can be like, oh, okay, so what can I, like a weird line that's coming from A Course in Miracles is like, you only what I am not giving is lacking here. So if you're in service always, then you are able to give, then you're able to receive more love. Yeah. So anyway, that's what I feel about all that.
Totally.
I want to get more polished with speaking on these topics. I think that's very important. Masculine, feminine.
Yeah. Okay. I support you. So, I was going to say something. Sacred sex.
In relationships.
And sacred relationships, and how, well, really, to me, like, if you really want to be honest with yourself and try and have the best relationship, and I've felt this for a while, is that there's no difference between the person you're having sex with and the person you're not having sex with in relationships. Like, you should, ideally, I just said it should, I don't like using shoulds. Ideally, you could have the same amount of openness and lovingness and connectedness. Like, I have friends that I tell them all my feelings as they pertain to them, and I'm honest and take responsibility for my feelings. I got a friend who we had entered into a contract, and he wasn't doing his half, and I sent him a message saying, I feel really sad that this is going on, and we talked, and we opened a dialogue, and we talked about it. Now, most people would be like, you did that with a male friend? That's not what you do with your male friends. You call them an asshole, and you punch them in the arm, and you yell at them, and that's masculinity. But just as an example of, like, that level of relationship, that level of compassion, like trying to take the level of respect and attention that you would pay to your lover to someone that you're just having a conversation with.
I like that you said compassion. Compassion's been a huge.
You have to have compassion when you're being intimate with someone, because that person is bearing their soul, and when you're bearing your soul, that's the most vulnerable you're likely to be, and especially as men, because we have such a different experience with sex than women. We have to learn compassion for what a woman is willing to offer, because to open herself to. I mean, like, the legs closing is not a metaphor. Well, it is a metaphor. It's a manifestation of a metaphor of a woman, and the whole thing about a woman being a flower that you have to gently get the flower to open, because she's opening her energy field to you.
Right.
She's opening herself to you, and you're just like the bull in the china shop, which they actually proved is a misnomer, because bulls don't run into stuff. They did it on MythBusters. But the metaphor of a bull in a china shop. So men are just charging around blindly, and that all has to do with how shut down everybody is, and that also pertains to why sex has become so unsacred. Is because
but
you
not
look at.
all men are charging around blindly.
Oh no, we're not all that bad. Just about 99.9% of us. So that all connects. What was I going to say? That all connects back to sex being everywhere. The reason sex is everywhere is because you have your major stimulus for the parasympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight nervous system. Those stimulus are sex, fear, violence, coffee, sugar, all of the things. Because when you get so tobacco is another good one. Because when you get so emotionally numb, shut down, it takes things to penetrate that. Look at scary movies. I think I talked about this not too long ago. When my dad was growing up, my dad was still alive. He'd be almost 70, I think. Watching Dracula as a kid, for him, he ran home thinking Dracula was going to come and get him. Now we watch those movies, and those movies, like, we would let a child watch those movies, the old campy horror movies. But at the time, because of where the consciousness was at, it was such a horrific, terrifying thing. Or like King Kong or Godzilla. You know, there's mass reports of people being scared shitless by King Kong when they originally saw it, because they'd never seen anything on it on that level. So, but we've had to up it to like horror movies that are so horrific that they'll traumatize the crap out of anyone who isn't built up a numbness to it.
Yeah, I don't actually watch those horror movies because I
won't even watch like nature documentaries anymore because of how much they play up the stress.
Yeah.
Like there was a BBC nature show. When I was a kid, I was homeschooled. I was pretty sheltered. So like I watched nature shows a lot about animals. And when I was growing up, it was like, this is a gazelle. Look at it bounce around through the environment. Isn't it happy? Or it got eaten by a lion. Moving on. And then that was it. And now, like, I watched this thing about, it was the parts of evolution that generally aren't covered, where monkeys are half man, half monkey. And it starts with this dead monkey who has a 2-year-old baby that's just been orphaned, poking the dead mother. They CG'd all this and wrote the whole script as a way to talk about it. Poking the dead mother, crying. This 2-year-old that's just been orphaned. That's totally fictitious. They could have told me about that without like trying to traumatize me like that. And ultimately, what it is it has to do with that stress that they have to up the dose because.
Well, yeah, let's talk about that for a second, because I was in a hotel room. I have like 2 seconds of insight on this that happened to happen on my trip.
Sure.
So I was in a motel where was I? I was in Albuquerque, I think, and I walk in the little kitchen area for like 5 minutes, right? And this beautiful Indian woman, she's super sweet. I wish I remember the name of the hotel. She's like cooking breakfast, and like she's like, oh, they ate all the eggs or whatever. So I see a freaking commercial, and I recognize in two things. I recognize how out of touch with the actual world, quote unquote world, I am, because I don't plug into this, and I recognize again how deeply our world is in need of healing. And I just thought about my father for a second, and all the people who are plugged into like Fox News and people who do digest that media on like a regular basis. And it's not only, but seriously, like think about that for a second. You know, it's funny. I do like Sean Corn yoga. I love Sean Corn. I do her yoga videos, and today I did a yoga video for like Universal Peace. And this is I don't know, maybe you guys will agree with me, maybe you won't. Where it's about people who don't have food, people who don't have the resources that we have for abundance. Like, you know, we live in a country where it's like super, you know, we have so much at our fingertips.
The poorest people here are first class, would be considered wealthy. Even the poorest people here would be considered
They don't
wealthy.
have resources. They don't have clean water and such, and we have so much. But there's also in our country an epidemic of the fact that like people are being poisoned by the collective consciousness of America. When I went to Guatemala, my energy field was wider, and when I came back to Fort Lauderdale Airport, I like felt myself constrict. So anyway, to finish the story is I saw a like just to go on like how they pump fear into everything is the commercial was Trump, and it was like half of the face and then like graphic and it was like Trump, you know, Hillary half of the face, you know, the thing, and it was like
Yeah.
it was like a wrestling promotion.
Yeah.
It was like match versus match, CNN, and I was like, oh my god, like the intention. So we talk about intention and like doing things with conscious mindfulness, the way of conscious mindfulness. The intention behind that 5-second commercial was like, I'm gonna kick your ass, and I could feel it, and it was, and so for those of us who are sensitive light worker people, we have this balance. On the video that I didn't make that I wanted to do for the new moon in Seneca, there's this actualization, this grounded energy that we as light workers are being called to actually make something of ourselves in the real world, so that we can actually do service to the real world, because that's the only way that like things are going to actually change, is that like you have to be a business, not only now, and I'm really feeling this, is not only do I have to do mantras and prayers and be a healer, and yes, have probably a job where it pays me like so I can actually do this stuff, but I actually have to make a business out of the healing profession so that that's what I can do and interact with other people doing businesses, and that's a big part of my mission and moving forward and going to Burning Man, is like meeting people who are actually actualizing this world, this earth, who are like people in Seneca who are building, you know, temples, but they're doing it in a way that they give workshops to teach people else how to, you know, give them the tools so that they can go build a world, right? Because right now our culture is like, I mean, it's sick. It's not, but we can't focus on that at the same time. We can't focus on the illness of the culture. We have to focus on the wellness and the well-being that we have in order to give more love out into the culture, but we have to balance it with this like reality groundedness, and then how are we going to make it work? And that's why I love Sean Korn so much, is because she's badass. She's an activist, and she's somebody who's actually out there doing it, and she's doing it through yoga. And she's like teaching like medicine work and like these principles of like love and universal and releasing trauma and dealing with people from like a heart-centered space, but in a really practical way. So long tangent, but I just want to just emphasize that that's a part of my growth, and also what I want other people just to be in recognition of, is that that's what we have to draw down the stars. It's the same thing we talked about in the beginning. We have to give form to the formless. We have to take what we know as the ideal, and we have to anchor it into this earth, and we need to figure out practical ways to do that, and we need to do that now and over the next few years. And like that's what's up.
That's it. Time to play, kids.
It's
and have fun while you do it, and be joyous.
If you don't,
that's the child side. If you're not, you know, the Taoists say to be like a child but take responsibility like an adult. So you have to have fun. This life is about enjoying yourself. It's about having fun. Take responsibility for your actions, yes. That's the adult side, but that's it. It doesn't mean about being serious or miserable. And that's, you know, like you were saying about the whole Trump thing and all of that.
Yeah.
Media's very much programmed on bad news. Very much media is all about the fear. They focus on the fear, and like it's like the whole point. Right, okay, conspiracy theory time. The FBI. I'm sure you guys have heard. I'm sure I've said this. Anyway, the FBI did several experiments. One of the experiments was that they had 1,000 spiritual people. They put them in hotels in Washington State over a weekend. Got them to focus on peace and prosperity and love, and they reduced the crime rate in Washington State by 25%. What you focus on grows. They change it now. The conspiracy side, if they know that, then other people also know, if you get everybody running around like headless chickens, the global energy will be to run around like a headless chicken.
That's right.
All our media is focused on fear, panic. You know, go back 20 years, go back to the 90s, and in the 90s, one of the most popular films, set of films there were Die Hard. What was Die Hard's main focus? Terrorism, terrorism, terrorism. And
Bruce Willis is a badass.
He's a badass. I've met him. I met him in.
Have you? No, you did not.
Yeah, Primal Studios. He was doing The Fifth Element. One of my
That's
one
like
of
his
my
best
friends.
time.
Oh, that was an awesome film. One of my one of the friends of the
I
family.
want to be like the diva. Sorry. Oh.
She had Moxie, old
Cool.
character. He.
Blue space alien goddess,
Yeah.
opera singing woman. I just.
Oh yeah. Well, I think that ship, on the ship, there was like heads. They look like Medusa heads. There was these
Yes.
big statues. I knew the guy who made them. They were all
Oh.
made out of wood and polystyrene. He was. He was. I've forgotten the word. He's a carpenter. And he went on the film set.
Jesus.
And the other one I went to see was what was it called? Fierce Creatures. It was the second film to Fish Called Wanda. You remember that?
Oh yeah, Fearsome Creatures.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I went there. Well, I lived next to that film studio. That's called Pinewood Studios. That's where they filmed Return of the Jedi, the Forest Moon of Endor. That was that park I used to walk in all the time.
That is so perfect.
Yeah.
How perfect is that?
I know. And you were talking about the Dracula movies. All the Dracula movies were filmed there as well, Palmer Studios.
Nice.
And the Hounds of the Baskervilles, that was there, and also the Hound in the Hound of the Baskervilles, and also the same dog that was in Omen, the big black one.
Oh, freaky.
That was a next door neighbour's dog. He was called Damien, of all names, funny enough.
Oh, funny.
Huge Doberman. Blooming huge things. I love it.
So
Anyway,
go ahead. I just want to say that you said because the media, et cetera, the reason why we're doing this podcast, part of it, and the reason why Skull and all of us is because conscious media is our medicine against, right, the fear-mongering craziness that the other world is, so that people of the light, like, I think it was last week or a couple weeks ago, like, there was like a 15-year-old on the podcast, and it made me so happy because it was like, and I talked to him about Be Here Now, like the book, like Ram Dass, by the way, if anybody wants to know anything about anything, go to Ram Dass, RAMDASS. His journey is amazing, and the book is Be Here Now. And his guru is Neem Karoli Baba, and a lot of the mantra and Bhakti Yoga inspiration that I have is from them. And in September, after I go to Unify Festival, I'm going to go to the Neem Karoli Baba Temple in Taos, New Mexico. I'm very excited. Oh, wow. Yeah, and the Lama Foundation.
You do realise Taos is basically Tao.
Right, I'm going to Tao, New Mexico.
Nice.
Totally, yeah. I can't wait for that. I was fantasizing about that this morning. Actually, I was thinking about like, wow, I might like live there for like a few weeks after the festival because I'm like gonna be done. You know what I mean? Like months of travel. I'll just like end up like on the mountain and be like, okay, I'm not leaving now. Like that's it.
I want to stay here.
Yeah.
I had something I wanted to add real quick about the whole media thing is, so for thousands of years you controlled your opponents in the Great Wars by the amount of information they had. One of the first things a conquering army would do would be to go in and raid their libraries and destroy their libraries. That's why in places like Europe
It makes me so sad, yeah.
So that's why there's no written history in Europe, for instance, is because it was continually being overrun and rerun and all that sort of thing. So what happens when all information is now at your fingertips? How are you going to control a civilization then? Oh, I know. You're going to give them too much information. And the information you're going to give them is going to be loaded with the most powerful medicine of all, fear. Because who doesn't know fear? Who doesn't know how to understand fear? And who, if you're unconscious, isn't extremely motivated? So you find the solution to that pesky problem of how do you keep the masses who now have access to every form of enlightenment. I mean, look at books. Great example. Look at books. You look at, like, Edgar Cayce, The Sleeping Prophet. They're making an argument for psychic cases. That's what those books are. You read that style of book. You read the Don Juan books, the Carlos Castaneda books. I can't stand those books. Because the whole time the guy's like, no, 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 this can't be happening. No, 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 this isn't real. Now you read books like, have you ever read the Palladian Workbook? Or Bringers of the Dawn? Or a book like that where it's just like channeled Palladian work, and they're like, yo, this is what's going on. Let me share this with you with love. There's none of this like, no, 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 this can't be happening. Oh, this isn't real. Oh, what? No.
But it's when it was written, though. I mean, when it was written.
Oh, absolutely. It was dealing with the consciousness of the times. But my point is, it becomes so easily accessible now that it's such a given concept that you have to find another way to keep the information out of people's hands and out of their heads, which is by overloading them with choices. There's been a lot of research done with choices. There's a TED Talks where they talk about it, about choices. And this lady did this experiment where she was going to school. It's a really cool blind lady. I think she's from India. And she did these experiments where she lived in New York, and there was this convenience store that had, like, I think 500 kinds of olive oil, just ridiculous amounts of choices. So they did a study where they put out 20 samples of jelly, and it was like 1 in 5 people bought a jelly. When they took it down to 4 samples, the number went up significantly. And I've seen this happen in my own life. I live on the coast in Oregon, and I live in a tourist town. So Labor Day weekend is one of the biggest weekends we have. I worked at an ice cream shop as a janitor and a back-of-the-house guy. One of their coolers went down. They lost half their stock. They sold more ice cream than they had ever sold at that time before because there was less choices to make. Yeah. Now you think about how this applies to when you have to decide not only what brand of potato chip you want to buy, but what kind of potato chip do you want to buy? Because there's 1,000 fucking choices now. And the same with soda. And the same with your brain can only handle so many decisions a day. It's only designed to be able to have. We're not meant to handle 1,000 things. We're supposed to have a tribe to help us.
Tell me that. I have so many. I wish I had a tribe.
That's what we're all dealing with, love. But that's the point, and that's why we cannot be more powerful beings. Because if we could just sit and meditate, and people brought us food, and people came to us to learn their life lessons, like it would be in a shamanic, if we were living in a small tribe where the rest of the tribe was giving us the clothes that we need, we don't have to go out and earn clothes. They're bringing us the food that we need because we don't have to go out and earn food. They're taking care of us. We have to take care of ourselves now. That means we have so much less time to focus on growing spiritually.
So can we talk about for a second, and I have a feeling we should wrap up the show soon. So, but I feel like I'd like to talk about something that I've been feeling, which I would like to create as a tribe of healers where we are all helping each other, or we all are working together to facilitate, whether it be retreats or some kind of schools or medicine workshops or whatever it looks like, or what I see and people talk about on schools. Everybody likes to travel and teach. And Paul, you've said this, Bhaggi, where you were like, I want to travel and teach. I have that same vision. So some of us, I feel, so to circle back all the way to the beginning of the show, is some of us have the vision to create temples, and some of us have the vision to be healers that visit temples and sacred sites on the earth. And I'm one of the traveling healer gypsy women who I want to go to different sacred temples, and I want to bring the knowledge and bring the medicine and just to tour basically and do that. But I want to I've learned, because I haven't been able to blog. Maybe tomorrow or maybe later tonight I'll be able to do my blog and such, because it's the full moon when I usually do that. But traveling plus organizing your life plus where are you going to go next plus all, listening to the phone, doing all that, it's hard to actually have some space, some downtime to digest your experience in order to create something that's teachable. Because that's something that you need. You need that space between, like, oh, I'm doing it, and then actually, for me, maybe some people are able to instantly manifest, like, oh, here, I'm spitting it out. But it's like, I need time to digest and create the teaching so that I'm working on the blog, and then I have the energy to, like, edit it or edit the video and put it up, to actually create a form.
After you go on your adventure, on your quest, in the hero's journey, you go on your quest, leave home, you go on your quest, crazy shit happens, and you have to come home again.
Yeah, but
Because then
but what I'm
because that's
saying,
the digestion.
oh,
That's
no,
the learning and the growing from the experience, and then you go out again.
so yes, but if you're doing a continuous journey and you want to be a conscious media creator while you're doing it, what I'm saying is that you need an actual pot of people so that you have help. So that you have help. So somebody is being your navigator, so that somebody's being somebody who is like, okay, well today I'll write, or I'm going to take care of that part for you so that you can be creative now. And so what I'm seeing in the future is that in order for this to be sustainable is that there does have to be like a team of creators who go around together and travel so that they are helping each other maintain their energy so that they can do everything that is possible for do. And it's just like people who are successful who have media teams, you know, who help them be successful, or assistants or etc. So me, and where I'm at right now, I can see that I would love other people, other beings of the divine light frequency to work with, to sing with, to do all these things with, that we all have our own individual, like what we're bringing, our medicine, our song, etc., but that we're able to co-create together, because again, Age of Aquarius, right? It's like the same song, that we can be traveling healers so that we can support each other, so that we can build networks with people like, you know, Scott at Seneca, who are building temples, so that we can go to those people and then create a tribe of this light web. And I feel like that's a huge part of like not only now the next 6 months, but like in the next few years is like, and then you visit little places on the light web and you build up your teachings and such, and then you're able to go back into the, she said, who's this? Nikki Eternal. 6 minutes ago I said before going, Neem Curly Baba is from my tiny village in India. So proud. We probably know each other from a past life then, sister. That's so cool. Yeah, so Nikki, awesome with Neem Curly Baba is from my tiny village. I think I know. I wish I could remember what village that was. I don't remember what. That's so good, yeah. Neem Curly Baba. So if I have, can I give out some resources? Neem Curly Baba, Ram Dass, Sean Korn, Alex Gray. Who else? Those are like I like all of those people for people that I'm influenced by and really into. Krishna Das, Bhakti Yoga. Yeah, that's it. I don't know. I have a YouTube channel, Michelle Infinity. If you type in Michelle Infinity, you can look at my stuff. And yeah. Any more stuff? All right. So that's it.
I love that idea, and yeah, I mean, the blue.
Oh yeah, talk about the healer thing for a second, Boggy, because I know you have something on that. Yeah.
Well, the healer thing for me is, I said about the Barefoot Doctor or the Dragon Dog Shaman. They were people. There was no one called the Cloud Watcher in Taoism. They were people that would go from village to village, and they, you know, very much like what Ethan said, is that they would go to the village and they would heal, and the villagers would feed them and clothe them and look after them. And that was part, and they even did that weirdly in martial arts. You know, you'd have a teacher that would teach martial arts, and they would go from village to village, and that was the old way. And what I would love to do here Europe or even the States is have a healing truck. So like in England there's a thing called a Luton van. So it's like a removal van. So it's big enough. So it's big enough that you can have a massage chair. So I've got a massage chair. So you lean forwards and it gives me your back. So I can do Shundown massage, which is head, neck, back, shoulders. But then I'd also have a massage sofa or bed. So I could do proper acupressure and Chinese massage and all of that. But it also is big enough to do training in. So I could have a moving quoon. Quoon means dojo. It's the Chinese word for dojo. So the idea for me would be to have a moving quoon and going from place to place, doing videos as well. To like, can I say, like next week I'm in such and such a place, so people will know. So, or give me suggestions where would you like me to go next, and move from place to place and have that, you know, the idea of having it as an adventure, you know. And I think you'd like this idea as well. I have said before, if I had the funding, I could happily spend my most favourite places. A week in England, see my daughter and do some healing here. A week in Thailand. A week in Australia. A week in America. I could do that every month. I could happily go a week one place, then move to the next week one place.
Can I tell you, as somebody who's on the road, what you actually would want to do? You'd want to do a month in one country, and a month in another country, and a month in another country, and a month in another country.
Yeah, anything that with my daughter, that means I wouldn't see her for a long time. So hence why I
Ah. Well, then maybe like 3 weeks or 2 weeks, because this is just, it's something, and this is beautiful, as everybody who doesn't do this, like on the road or whatever it is, the traveling. And it's so funny because Doreen Virtue, who was one of my first teachers, oh, you should draw a card or something, because you talked about that deck. She was always complaining on Hay House Radio about traveling and unpacking and packing and such like that, because she did it for 25 years, teaching lectures and doing around the world intuitive work. And that I'll tell you what cards I pulled real quick. I just pulled some cards from my Medicine Woman deck, and look at that. You guys like that? I got the Warrior card, which is Chariot, and then the Ace of Pipes. I feel like I should say the prayer for the Ace of Pipes.
Okay.
We'll say what it is. And then we could close with the Guru Rinpoche mantra. I could sing it, but I also want to go with the flow. Ace of Pipes. Ooh. Oh, that's interesting.
Ethan, say stop.
Say what?
Stop.
Why?
I'm shuffling.
Oh. I see.
Anytime.
Now! Stop! Desist! Cease! Halt!
Oh, I got it.
Which one?
Ooh. Isabella.
Ooh, what's that?
Right, Isabella says, yes, the timing is right for this new adventure. A happy outcome follows a positive expectation.
Oh, yeah!
That's so true. Go ahead, finish your, yeah.
No, that's it. Go.
No, I was going to say finish your reading if you were going to say anything about that.
Since we're playing this game, I
Oh,
make
okay.
runes, pennies. I'll
You're
draft.
gonna do-
Let's see what rune we get.
The positive expectations thing is really a lot of what I've been hearing when you're in amidst any hero's quest, a hero's journey adventure. There's like ups and there's downs. It's like, oh, it's all coming apart. Oh, it's all coming together. What'd you get, Ethan?
Gateway.
Oh, I love that one. Is it? And it's not reversed. It's the thing.
Oh, it comes up either way, because they're on coins. If you take fun fact: if you take a penny made after like the late '80s, it's actually filled with zinc, so you can grind the copper finish off, revealing the zinc underneath. So
You're so cute.
I make all sorts of stuff. This is something.
All right, and oh, you got Kuan Yin Oracle? I have that too, honey. I was thinking.
I feel left out.
Mine, you gotta get down with Kuan Yin, yo.
Oh, I have books by Amora Kuan Yin.
I'm down.
Don't leave me out. No.
Okay, wait. Should I wait for you, Boggy, or are you gonna do a thing? Should I read the prayer?
No, you go ahead.
Okay. Ace of Pipes, inspiration and excitement. Great Spirit, I am ready. Great Spirit, I open my day with a prayer to you. I look to the east, to the rising sun, and I seek direction. It is springtime in my heart, and I am ready. I listen for your call and ready myself to receive the wand of power. Ignite in me the energy of creation. Inspire a life divine. Awaken in me all possibility. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The wand of power.
Yeah. The wand of power.
My wonder power.
You know, it's funny. It's funny because there's a sexuality. The lesson is awaken to inner resources. The magic wand of creative sexual energy is stirring. This is the kindling of desire. Depending on the level at which your consciousness resides, you are feeling one of the following: a strong need for personal space, a increased awareness of your own body, deep drawing towards family or friends, and a desire to be a part of a group who needs you. Extra energy to express yourself, an overwhelming desire to do something useful and beneficial to the world, an urge to speak out, sing, or otherwise be heard, artistic inspiration, or an increased longing to merge with God. You may feel more. Merge. You may feel more than one of the above.
You sing, baby.
You want me to sing?
I've got my wand.
You want me to sing? If I sing, I would play the music at the same time.
Why would you?
Why would I play the music at the same time?
Yeah. Why not? Just wondering if you have a solid, concrete reason, or if it's just a.
Because I'm still I don't know.
I thought so.
Ooh.
Well,
I heard you say because twice, and then you had nothing.
Because the wonderful thing she does.
That's right.
This is one of the prettiest songs, but I don't know if this is the one I want to. So it's this one. This is what I want. Hold on. This is one of the best. This is the song that I'm learning right now. You're right, with the music it's not as exciting. Okay, it feels artificial with the music. So I'll just sing the part that I know, and I'll just make up the rest in honor of.
Yes.
Okay.
You got this, Michelle.
Actually, what wants to be this weird impression? Wants to be singing what it wants to be singing. Yeah. Guru Padma Siri Hum Om Ahum Benza 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 Guru Padma Siri Hum Om Om. I want to go into the words. Guru Padma Siri Hum Om Ahum Benza 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 Guru Padma Siri Hum.
That was awesome. It was like, it's interesting because I hear a lot more of your crone singing than your maiden singing.
I like that.
I'm interested to see as you expand more into your inner child that changes, because in my mind it's a wiffle waffling between the two. For a better balance of the singing they take turns more, but I see I know we've talked about this. Your elder is kind of distinctly in charge at the moment.
Yeah. Well, of her in ceremony, I would think so. But that you make me want to sing something else with that awareness. You know what I mean? So
I make you. Ooh, the power I have to make you.
Well, you said the power is that, you know where I said the other song, we played the other song, and I nearly cried. I will be honest, I nearly cried on that as well. You're getting the right frequency. Volky doesn't cry often.
Oh, I love you.
I love you too. And I've got your whole one. But anyway, but no, yes, Yeah, yeah. Yes.
Can I talk for a minute since you guys are both kind of indisposed?
Go for it.
Wait, what?
The chord of the. Oh, let's see, how do I put this? The truer the song, the more it will inspire and touch.
Mm-hmm.
The truer you can be to your balanced self, the stronger the song will be.
Mm-hmm.
And I really feel like there's an element that everyone thinks sacred when they think of sacred ceremonies. They forget the sacred play.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like the Native Americans have in the Sundance while the guys are dragging. For those people who don't know, so during the Sundance Festival, it's my understanding that traditionally some braves would drag and will drag buffalo skulls behind them. I think it was with a piece of cherry wood driven through. So they take a fold of the skin on your back and make a fold, and then they drive the cherry wood through it and attach the buffalo skull. And while and they drag it around until it gets ripped out of their back. And while this is going on, there's also sacred clowns that are running around and making light and making mirth at the same time, because life is suffering and life is beauty at the same time. So the more you can wholeheartedly hold both those characteristics within your being at the same time, the more you can hold the deep wisdom of the elder with. So the rocks of the stream, as I was talking about earlier, would be the wisdom of the elder, but there's that bubbly little kid energy running along the top that intuitively knows when it's time to go around the rock that's sticking out of the middle of the river, because it knows that that's the flow that it needs to follow. And so that's the elder coming out when the elder needs to be there.
So she wants to sing, so I'm going to give her the full.
Okay, then shut me up. Go.
So this song actually goes with the Nikki's song. It's a Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmahe Shri Guru Dev Namaha, and it's all of life is my teacher. So Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara. I think that's what whatever it is right now. That's what it is right now. Okay, so this is to the sacred clown of all of us. Okay. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmahe Shri Guru Dev Namaha. Om Namah Shivaya. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmahe Shri Guru Dev Namaha. Namah Shivaya. Hare Om Namah Shivaya.
Wow.
That was totally your maiden, 100%.
My soul's
You
fine.
again, you can do the child because you're going opposite. You went crone, maiden instead of child, maiden. No, maiden, mother, crone. Like you're going in the opposite direction.
That makes sense.
So, do you want to sing again?
Wait.
You know what? I've
But-
got to be honest. Apart from my soul side, that was a interesting thing for me. It doesn't happen often that my soul size. You understand that?
Talk to me. What?
So, oh, right. It's an old saying. Your soul size. You know, it's like
Like,
but your
my
soul,
soul.
my whole soul. Yeah. Yeah, is that the whole my whole being sort of like lifting off the weight. And I tell you what, the visualization I got was me doing my stuff, my healing, and having you singing
Yes.
as that in it, but as the ancient stories of healers, there was at least normally two, if not more. So you would have several healers working together, almost like, sort of like the older Marvel's Avengers, using all their different powers, their powers. So, you do the sensuality, you do the magic, you do the soul side, you do the wooing of spirit. I like that, wooing the spirit. You woo the spirit, and then I would do the physical side of the massage while you're, so the two blend together, and because that's the truth of community and truth of the Tao is that many things work as one. The five elements. The five elements are independent, yet they work in a cycle. They like the yin and the yang. We see them as opposite, but they're not. It's Tai Chi. This is Tai Chi, not yin and yang. It's Tai Chi. The yin and yang blend together and work as one. And yeah, I had this whole vision. I must be in America because it was warm and dry, and I could feel, maybe it was Sedona, because I could feel, it felt like almost the Sedona heat on me. And you're doing your mystic magic, your sound mantra, and I was doing the massage and the healing on the person, so they're getting two at one. Anyway, I'll shut up.
I think that's perfect.
I'll be dressing both of you, so it'll be awesome.
Yes.
You're my co-spin. I need clothes.
That's right.
From what I've learned, I mean, the little that I've learned, it's true. Like, we do this podcast together, and then, like down the line, we're healers, and in tandem, it's the same thing. Like, me and Amanda, it's the same thing. You don't come together for, it's not chance. You get paired up with certain people to do certain work all the time,
Totally.
So, yeah. All right, so I can sing one more song, and then we can close the show.
Yes,
You wanna
ma'am.
do that? Okay.
Yes, seafood.
Now my inner child's all activated. So, hi, what's up? All right. All right.
Three children. No, that's my. Anyway, sing, my lady, my princess.
Okay, so I'll try to. My intention with this is to combine the mother, the maiden, and the throne into one. If that's possible, we'll play with that. Yeah.
Okay.
This is also the song that came for the Seneca Healing House. This is the mantra that I played in two different chants, two different ways. So, okay. Oh, there was a flooding in Louisiana. I just got word on my.
Oh, don't be responsible now.
Sorry. Sorry.
Now is not the time to be responsible.
I just came in. I was like, a flooding in Louisiana. Okay.
I know. I saw you get sucked into it.
So, oh my gosh. So let's everybody think of healing together for that. If there's people that, I don't know, I haven't been on the internet or anything. I haven't even checked my email. But if there's people and it's traumatic, let's send this song. This song is Asatoma, and it's lead me from ignorance to truth, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. And it's a really beautiful healing prayer. It's very fierce. But let's send our chi to anybody who needs healing, whether in devastation or anywhere on the globe. Right? We talk about all the people who don't have enough, and people who are in a country who are totally bogged down by fear, and also people who experience a natural disaster recently. So all of those people.
You do that, and I'll do a chi blast. I'll send.
Oh, beautiful! So we're already practicing singing and healing at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I'll turn off my speaker, and you go for it.
Asatoma Sadgamaya. This is good for John. Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Asatoma Sadgamaya Asatoma Sadgamaya 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 Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritangamaya Asatoma Sadgamaya Asatoma 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 To the people.
To the people!
Healed and nourished and nurtured and respected and loved. And may the work that we as light workers doing, following our faith and our intuition, thank you for the guides and the angels, and for all of us who are walking this path. As we go and create this new consciousness that is unknown to us, and yet we are called and led by our hearts to walk in full faith and full reverence and full devotion and full commitment to this call that we have to give more, to give ourselves, to give our light, to give our essence, to give our service to this earth, because we know nothing else and we feel no better than when we are connected to the whole. And so it is. Aho, namaste, and so it is, as I like to say, in love, light, and warrior spirit. In love, light, and warrior spirit. Thank you guys so much, my friends, Bhaggi and Ethan. Love you guys.
Marty Michelle. Thank you. So, thank you guys. I hope you enjoyed that. We had a few people fleeting in and out. That was a really good. That was we were almost speechless. So, thank you very much. Until next week. I can't remember who we got next week.
Somebody awesome, I'm sure.
It'll be very awesome. So, until next week. Love Chi and Shen. Bye for now. Love you all.
Bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.